Ted, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, this is JFK researcher Richard Hooke, and it's been 39 years now since the murder of rock and roll star John Lennon, and I got my friend researcher Ted Coeyman on the phone here, and we're just going to talk for a while about John Lennon, so he's not forgotten. His murder was extremely strange. It's just bizarre beyond belief. They told us it was a lone nut that killed him in the entryway of his Dakota apartments next to Central Park in New York. Following the apprehension of Mark David Chapman, he wasn't drug tested. They got him to plead guilty, and he was not deemed insane, so there was no trial or real investigation. Mark David Chapman, 24 years old, was from Hawaii. He had lived in various places before that. It's my contention he was a programmed assassin by satanic Zionist CIA handlers who were constantly monitoring Chapman, controlling his mind, and telling Chapman to kill John Lennon. So, Ted, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think about this strange death?
John Lennon's assassination was an act of revenge, an act of prevention also. For John Lennon was no longer hiding out. For 5 years, from 1975 to 1980, he was a house dad, taking care of his son Sean, who was born October 9, 1975. And by the way, John Lennon was born October 9, 1940. So John Lennon got he had a struggle from the early 70s till 76. The Nixon administration tried to deport him They tried to deport him.
Yes.
And send him back to England. And John Lennon had to hire very expensive lawyers to stay in the United States. Finally, in 1976, John Lennon got his green card, which gave him permanent residency in the United States. Now, if John Lennon had been a permanent resident in the early 70s and had a green card in the 70s, he probably would have been killed in 1972 or 73. His being a non-resident, permanent resident in the early 70s, when he was involved in anti-war activism, he went to a concert in Michigan to support John Sinclair. He gave a celebrity to the anti-war movement, spoke out. He was on a show on TV with Bobby Seale talking about the Black Panthers to support the Black Panther Party. And it was definitely a bonus vote for the federal government, because the federal government and the FBI was trying to get Black Panther Party out.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he had permanent residency in the early 70s, he would have been killed not in 1980, but in the early 70s. Okay, he's got the green card in 76. He had a 5-year hiatus taking care of his son, Sean. Then he starts to get back into politics. Him and Yoko had tickets to go to San Francisco that next weekend to support a cannery worker strike in San Francisco, composed of Asian workers striking against horrible conditions they were working under. So John Lennon was getting back in politics, and his assassination was done in part for revenge for his outspoken opposition to the Vietnam War. Because remember, the Vietnam War was CIA top to bottom, a CIA operation.
Definitely.
Then they psychologically profiled him, just like they had psychological profiles on President Kennedy. The CIA had psychologists profile on President Kennedy. Likewise, I feel that psychological profile on John Lennon. So John Lennon was profiled, and they said, look, he's a danger. He's now a permanent resident, and they were afraid he was going to speak out about the SDI's Strategic Defense Initiative, weaponizing space.
Yeah.
Afraid he was going to speak out about the U.S. involvement in Central America. He would add his celebrity, his voice for peace against militarization of space. He would speak out against U.S. involvement in trying to overthrow the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, and also the involvement in the United States government trying to suppress the national liberation of the people in El Salvador. Someone of that celebrity and charisma is dangerous to the powers that be. Now, when he spoke out against the Vietnam War, he caused the war to end earlier than it would have. He affects the profits of defense contractors. People don't recognize. People go down in the strawberry fields and they smoke reefer and they listen to John Lennon songs, they play the guitar. Most of these people don't realize the threat that John Lennon posed to the repressive state that governs the United States. They dealt with John Lennon, and it did a very sophisticated intelligence hit.
Well, the thing is, they had, Ted, they had actually, the FBI had a program against rock stars in general. In 1975, the Church Committee uncovered this co-intel program where they were going to go after rock musicians.
Yes, and also like the fact that John Lennon, people don't realize there was a magazine called The Realist, published by Paul Krasner. The Realist magazine covered U.S. assassinations of President Kennedy. It gave researcher Mae Brussel an opening to present her views and her research on President Kennedy's assassination. He poured a lot of money into the Realist magazine, which enabled it to keep afloat and get the truth out to the American. Remember, this is before the internet. Then John Lennon, when Sal Mineo, who was his friend, got murdered, John Lennon hired lawyers to look into Sal Mineo's murder, which I believe was a CIA hit, because Sal Mineo was researching and making a movie about Robert Kennedy's assassination, bringing out a lot of facts about Sirhan being a mind-controlled, MK Ultra program, Patsy, and the CIA's involvement in.
Are they going to make this movie and tell the truth about the RFK hit? That couldn't be allowed.
But see, John Lennon, on many different levels, was a serious threat. They saw him on the same level as President Kennedy, that he had to be taken out. If he'd stayed in the Dakota, stayed hunkered down, took care of his son and his little puppet, he might be with us today. The fact is that they also, when he was murdered, Yoko found bugging devices in the apartment in Dakota.
Yeah.
Every time John Lennon and Yoko in the early 70s would leave the Dakota in a car, they were chauffeured, the FBI tailed them.
Yeah, they're out front all the time, yeah.
But they planned this assassination way before he was killed. If he'd been killed in 72 or 73, everyone would have suspected the United States government's hand in the murder. They waited from 76 to 80. He had 4 years of permanent residency. No one suspected the United States' intelligence role in his murder.
Yeah, the whole time they were like prepping this Patsy Chapman, moving him around the world at various safe houses and YMCA places where he was being programmed to be triggered as an assassin on demand.
Yeah, in other words, when the policemen came to answer the call at the Dakota, minutes after John Lennon was shot, he did not suspect or even believe that Mark David Chapman was the assassin. He suspected the doorman, Jose Perdomo, as being the shooter. And the policeman's instincts would prove to be correct. For many, many years, nobody knew, the media never told the people who the doorman was at the Dakota apartment building. We found in 86 that it was Jose Perdomo, who was part of the CIA Operation 40, the CIA assassination section.
Yeah, he'd been in the Bay of Pigs thing with Frank Sturgis.
CIA.
Yeah.
So what is the CIA?
And also, hey, Ted, one thing I wanted to mention, didn't they already say that Perdomo had died?
Yeah, it's just like David Sanchez Ross supposed to die back in May of 78. The same thing, they said that he died in 74, Jose Perdomo. He was no more...
Yeah, so then he died, and all of a sudden, here he is, the doorman at Lennon's Dakota Apartments.
And the media did not tell the people who the doorman was, and that's very strange right there. Also, Mark David Chapman was to the right and rear of John Lennon, and all the shots hit John Lennon's body to the left, meaning someone else was the shooter.
Yeah, that's where the doorman was, over to the left.
So basically, Yoko had already got out of the limousine, walked into the foyer of the Dakota. John Lennon was following her.
How many shots were there, Ted?
I don't know.
I think there were 4 or 5.
He was shot by hollow point bullet
hollow point bullets from a revolver.
He started vomiting flesh and then he collapsed onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And he basically died. But basically what I'm trying to say to you is we have a criminal syndicate running the United States and running the world, and certain people that are charismatic, that can galvanize the masses, the youth, and make them realize we have to turn the war machine off, move towards world peace. These people have to go. And the American people and all the people that claim to love John Lennon have never really sat down and said, who really killed John Lennon? And why was John Lennon killed? These questions never raised these people's minds.
Yeah, they were so shocked when after it happened, nobody was thinking straight. They just bought the story that it was a lone nut and it wasn't a conspiracy. But I mean, it's the strangest story. I mean, how could Chapman have traveled all around the world from when he was in high school in 72 to 1980, basically unemployed, but he's traveling all around the world. He went to Beirut, Lebanon, where it's known that CIA has programmed assassins. I mean, how did he pay for all these trips?
He was staying in very expensive hotels in New York City.
Exactly. And also
John Lennon.
Yeah, he went to Geneva, Switzerland. He got remarried and was living in Hawaii. He was buying expensive art in Hawaii. I think a Norman Rockwell lithograph. I mean, where was he getting the money? It's never been accounted for.
Also, there's a book that I advise everyone that's listening to this talk, go online, Amazon.com, and get a book called Who Killed John Lennon. It came out, I believe, in 1988 or 1989 by an English lawyer called Fenton Bressler. This book is a blockbuster book. It will give you a lot of facts about John Lennon's murder.
Yeah, I read that myself. It gives a great background, and it's the best book telling the whole thing.
And so basically...
And then also Mae Brussel has a great chapter in her book, The Essential Mae Brussel. I'd recommend that too.
Basically, John Lennon could not be allowed to speak out against SDI, the Strategic Defense Initiative. He's not going to be allowed to speak.
Yeah, Reagan had just been elected, and he was going to be sworn in January when Lennon was killed that November. That December 8th.
But basically, they did it very cleverly. They didn't see what saved John Lennon's life. Like I said, is he didn't have permanent residency in the early 70s. So they basically concentrated on getting him deported. That was the way of dealing with him. But when he got the permanent residency, and then he starts to get back into politics, deportation's not the means. We have to kill him. We have to get him out of the way, kill him, assassinate him. And his murder is like the murder of Robert Kennedy, with Yev Sirhan as the decoy assassin programmed, and the real shooter, Dan Eugene Caesar, that actually killed Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, it's like Lee Harvey Oswald, except...
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
Cover up the fact there's a multiple shooter hit teams killing him for different directions.
Well, they had to shoot Oswald because, he probably wouldn't have pleaded guilty,
He would be found innocent because Richard Hooke found Oswald standing in the doorway with 77 matching points.
He absolutely could not have fired any shots at all on November 22nd.
Anyone that he didn't shoot J.D. Tippit, he didn't kill President Kennedy.
Yeah, not even a warning shot.
And basically, what we have here is all leaders that can affect and stir the masses are murdered. And you have a Murder Incorporated operating. John Lennon was more of a threat. Even the people that love him don't really understand what John Lennon was all about. They like his music, they like Yoko and him, but they don't realize he was really an activist for peace.
No, actually, Hinckley. He was a member of World Vision, which had brought Vietnam refugees back.
You mean Chapman?
Chapman from Vietnam to Arkansas, and it's coincidental that this World Vision, the CEO at that time was Hinckley, which is the father of the attempted assassin of Ronald Reagan. And the Hinckleys were big friends of the Bush family. George H.W. Bush, CIA, was big friends with Hinckley Sr., who was the head of World Vision. And this is where Chapman, he could have been programmed as he was a member of this World Vision.
I also believe that British intelligence, MI5 and MI6, gave the nod, go ahead and kill him, because the British establishment found John Lennon was a problem child for them. In other words, there was no opposition from the British, because John Lennon was a British citizen. In other words, the British intelligence had no problem with the CIA and American intelligence getting rid of John Lennon, because they'd be getting rid of a problem child for them.
Yeah, you know, one thing I wanted to mention about this Hinckley. Now, he got out of high school in 72, and his family was from Fort Worth, Texas. They moved to Florida and then to DeKalb County, Georgia, where he went to junior college. And then he was sent to Beirut, Lebanon, where I believe he stayed at the YMCA. And we don't really know what was going on there for 6 months, where they're known to have programmed assassins. Actually, the guy who produced that movie, The Exorcist, was a CIA guy. I believe his name was Blatty, who was at that Beirut CIA installation. Then he came back. Hinckley comes back to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, and he's working with the Vietnam refugees, and there's a CIA presence there.
Yeah, it's really funny, too. I have a friend that he was a teacher, and he taught English in South Carolina to these Vietnamese young people, and he was working for the Tolstoy Foundation to do this. And the Tolstoy Foundation also is a CIA front.
Yeah.
So basically...
Yeah, then he went to Tennessee, and then he went to Hawaii, where he remarried a Japanese wife, and he was he had a nervous breakdown, but then, strangely enough, they gave him a job in the mental hospital. I mean, what's with that? The CIA has been known to program assassins in Hawaii also. I think this entire time from 72 to 80, he had CIA handlers who wouldn't let him out of their clutches. They were monitoring Hinckley constantly. David Chapman constantly. He couldn't escape it.
And basically, too, is who stands there after John Lennon is shot, calmly reading The Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah, he just sat down and started reading the book.
And he never ran down the street to go to the subway, didn't run into Central Park across the street, just stood there. And the real assassin, Jose Perdomo, says to Mark David Chapman, "Do you know what you just did?"
Yeah.
But to reinforce the programming. But the fact is...
And then, you know what, Ted? I also heard that Perdomo yelled at Chapman, "Get out of here." So he wanted the guy to make a run for it. They probably would have shot him dead in the park, you know.
Killed him.
That's right. But he didn't. He sat down and read the book. He read The Catcher in the Rye.
And, you know, it's funny, too, is that I had a friend that was dating a woman that was involved with East German intelligence, and she went into an East German intelligence library in East Berlin, and she looked at the files, and the East Germans knew that Jose Perdomo was the real assassin of John Lennon. In other words,
oh, is that right?
Knew, the East German Stasi knew that John Lennon's murder was Jose Perdomo.
So she told you that, huh?
Yes, and also the fact that I found out from my friend that the East German intelligence was monitoring Jimi Hendrix in a friendly sort of way, because they knew that Jimi Hendrix was supporting the Black Panther Party, was very progressive, but the East German intelligence knew that Jimi Hendrix was murdered.
Now, what they killed him, right? They forced the wine down his throat. That's right.
But basically, what I'm trying to say is that rock stars are endangered. They could be an endangered species like different animals. If you go against the war machine, you go against the powers that profit by war and want war, you try to really galvanize the masses for peace, you will be eliminated.
Now, if people want to know about these rock stars that have been killed, the book is The Covert War on Rock.
Constantine.
Yeah, and I'm showing a picture of it right now, and people can order that. It's very cheap on the
That's
internet.
too, because it gives a lot of the facts about Salminio's murder.
Yeah, that's where they can get that.
And Jones' murder. Yes, the Rolling Stones member Brian Jones was murdered in his pool in July of 1969 in England. Murdered. In other words, you have different rock stars killed. Like I said, there was also Operation Chaos that started in the summer of 1968 to deal with the restless youth. The United States government was very, very freaked out about the resistance to the war in Vietnam. The young people were rejecting the system, were involved in the counterculture, and they had this Operation Chaos.
Yeah.
I suspect that Sharon Tate's murder was a government operation. People can go online and listen to Mae Brussel talk about Charlie Manson.
Yeah, now we'll do another one about that. But here, I just had a little paragraph I wanted to read here real quick. Now, the psychiatrist for Chapman, Dr. Schwartz, summed it up in psychiatric lingo to Chapman's defense attorney, Jonathan Marks. Schwartz said Chapman was battling good versus evil within his mind and identified with a fictional character, Holden Caulfield, in the book The Catcher on the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Chapman had projected the evil within himself onto John Lennon. The phoniness in him had become John Lennon, and in killing Lennon, Chapman was killing the evil and hypocrisy despised in his own soul. In layman's terms, Chapman killed Lennon to satisfy and silence and free himself from his satanic Zionist CIA handlers who were controlling his mind and driving him to the act of killing Lennon, finally freeing himself from the incessant mind control being imposed upon him. The Dakota CIA doorman Jose Perdomo, was on hand in the entryway and very likely killed him, but he was on hand to assist if necessary to make sure it got done. He told Chapman to run. He wouldn't run. John Lennon was anti-establishment. He was anti-war, a threat to the controlling political military establishment that had murdered JFK, RFK, MLK, and so many others, and had just regained control with the election of U.S. President Ronald Reagan.
What's funny, too, is that many people should definitely wake up and realize that there's more to John Lennon's murder. There's more to Brian Jones. It's really a murder. They should definitely get this book, The Covert War on Rock, by Alex Constantine. By the way, Alex Constantine was a student of Mae Brussel. She called them the Brussels sprouts. Mae Brussel was one of the best researchers the world has seen. And she
absolutely. You can listen to her recordings on YouTube, her radio shows.
But the thing is, this is that she was just a simple housewife. When President Kennedy was assassinated, she wanted to get to the bottom. She started having her husband buy different newspapers and magazines. She gleaned from one newspaper one thing about the murder that she didn't get the other ones. She would go through magazines like scavenging, and then she developed a technique of how to get information without the internet. And her husband eventually said, "This has got to stop. This obsession with." She wanted to know, for selfish reasons, why President Kennedy was killed. She would go to schools and give talks about President Kennedy's murder and say, "We've been overthrown. We've already had a coup."
Well, then the FBI came to her radio station in Carmel, California, and shut it down.
She was definitely, the CIA had an extensive file on her in September of 1967. Here this woman was a housewife, and why would the CIA have an extensive file on Mae Brussel?
She was really smart.
The CIA have on John Lennon.
Yeah.
All these other rock stars, like Jimi Hendrix. And by the way, these students that they were researching Jimi Hendrix's murder in 1976, 6 years after Jimi Hendrix's murder, and they were shocked. They got all this free information back, and they found out through the blacked out documents that Jimi Hendrix was considered a national security threat. If there was any national security alert, Jimi Hendrix was going to be put in a camp.
Well, exactly.
Jimi Hendrix was going to be put in a internment camp.
Well, they considered John Lennon a national security threat, just like President Kennedy.
Yes. In other words, all our popular, charismatic leaders have been murdered. They've died. President Kennedy was anti-war president. John Lennon was an anti-war musician. All these people have been murdered, and it's time for the American people, the whole world, to realize what has been happening. And my brothers and sisters outside the United States listening in England and in Germany and wherever they can understand what I'm saying, I know that you get it quicker than American people because you're on the outside looking in. You have no baggage. You say, well, the United States government wouldn't do this. No, because you can assess properly, quicker than Americans, that something has really transpired because you don't have this internal conflict that say, oh, I can't believe the United States government would do that because you're an American citizen. You're an English citizen, so yes, they can do it. And by the way, Richard Hooke's friends with a woman named Rachel White has been looking into the murder of President Kennedy, and she's English. And many times I've dealt with people abroad from England, Canada. They get it. They understand what's happening.
Yeah, they have from the outside looking in, they have more insight, really.
They don't have the resistance inside them psychologically.
Right.
American citizens, they sit back and say, I can't believe they did this.
Well, we were so heavily brainwashed about everything, Camelot and all that, about Jackie Kennedy,
You know, what's funny is that they go on and on about President Kennedy. Like, for instance, they'll talk about Bobby Kennedy's daughter getting in a car accident and her trial in Westchester County, but they won't talk about Robert Kennedy Jr. visiting the prison in California and meeting with Sirhan and hugged Sirhan and said, I know you didn't kill my father. Yeah. Now, what I just said should be front page news all over the world. Robert Kennedy Jr. looks like a clone of his father, beats Sirhan in the prison in California, hugs him, and they have a meeting.
Absolutely. Now, Ted.
Jr. says, I know you did not kill my father.
Ted, we can continue to talk, but I'm going to have to end our recording here. But thank you very much. This was really great to keep John Lennon's memory alive. Thank you for giving us all these insights today.